My name is Dr. Maggie Baker. I'm trained as a psychologist and also as a financial therapist. And I'm here to help you deal with your money issues. Everybody has money issues. It's whether you are aware of them or not. And there is help enjoying the money you have and not worrying about the money that you don't have. It was an interesting research study that I read about that talks about how frequently people talk about money in their home life, and come to find through this research that money is the least talked about. It's probably the most thought about, but least talked about in a productive way. And the researchers found that the reason for this is that when money does finally come up, it's usually pretty contentious, or if not contentious, at least is full of negative emotion, so that it makes it very, very hard for people to stay with. And they really would just rather put it off if they could. And given that understanding of what money can do, I don't blame them. Who wants to walk into that kind of lion's den? But everybody needs to. And one of the advices I would give for that is to set ground rules. So if you're going to talk about money and you know it's going to be hard, set a time limit, like an hour. That's enough. Or even a half an hour. And then if you're going to have money meetings, say every month, then just gradually extend the time. And the other thing that's really, really important is that after you've had one of these sessions, do something you really like, because that will help take the sting out of what you have just done that you really don't like. The most important thing is learning the art of compromise. And you learn the art of compromise through really understanding and empathizing with the other person's point of view. So what I would do is, when I'm seeing a couple like this, I would say, okay, to the spender, in this case me, I would say, can I just get out of myself enough to understand from my partner's point of view what it feels like when he experiences me as overspending? And if I can get into that space, and I always say, you don't have to agree with the person. You just have to lend your perception to theirs, so that you can get an idea of the impact of your behavior on them. And then I ask the partner to do the same thing. And that usually kind of slows down the process. And then what I try to do is help them to come to some middle ground. So how can you get some satisfaction with your spending, and how can you get some satisfaction with your saving without butting heads the way you have? And one of the ways to do that is to get a list of people's values. And if you ask them, in this case, I would say, what do I really value? Do I value clothes? Do I value entertainment? Do I value education, philanthropy, health, whatever? And ask the other person to do the same, and then compare values and see where you have common ground and where you don't. And somehow coming from a value point of view makes it a lot easier than just a financial point of view. And then from the values, we can step into the money arena with some common ground, which makes dealing with the differences much easier. There was another study that was reported in the Financial Therapy Association journal. And it goes like this. A couple comes in and they were asked about their concerns about money. And the wife just starts talking about how anxious she is. And she's really upset with her husband spending, and she doesn't know what to do. And she just can't calm down. And why doesn't he just be more careful? And goes on and on and on. And then you see the husband, with this very, very animated, anxious wife, he just goes like that, as if he's completely withdrawn and has no ears for this conversation. And the way they measured in the couple of their level of anxiety was through what's called a galvanic skin response. They measure how much moisture you have in your hands. And the more you have, the more anxious you are. And what they found was they graphed it out so that the woman's anxiety as the session went on was pretty much steady like this, and maybe a little bit more down at the end. But the husband, way up. So here's this guy looking as if he's dead, not paying attention and withdrawn, is taking this all in, but just it's shutting him down so that he gets paralyzed. And I think that dynamic in couples is so strong, where one is expressive and the other seems detached or withdrawn. And if, again, extending empathy for the other person's position and how they're reacting to your behavior, then understand the impact that he's not disinterested in your anxiety. It just may scare him. So he has to shut down because he doesn't know what to do about it, and he doesn't know what to do about himself, which is why they're there for counseling. Divorce is a really sticky issue because in a no-fault state like Pennsylvania, if you get divorced, no matter what your feelings about the other person, they get half of, commonly held money. And what my advice is for that is, this is so bad, it's such a bad situation because you end up spending a lot of money that you do have on lawyers. So they get the money, you get the downturn in your lifestyle, and everybody is unhappy except the lawyer. And I know a lot of lawyers who are, really wonderful people, and they don't like being put in that situation, and they would like to help you resolve this as soon as possible. But if your emotional tenor with the other person is so negative, it's going to take God knows what to get through a divorce without being deeply scarred, both emotionally, economically, and socially, particularly for women, because it always seems to me that everybody appreciates an extra man, but I don't think everybody appreciates an extra woman. And I think that combined with the economic downturn, mostly on women, is just devastating. And I won't even go into what it does to kids, because if a relationship is so toxic, it's probably better that you get divorced. But if there's any hope in trying to resurrect the relationship, spend the money on a good marriage therapist and see what can happen. And I know most marriage therapists are committed to keeping the marriage together, but I know some, including myself, that when the contempt is so high, I just shake my head and say, don't spend your money on trying to repair this relationship. The best thing you can do is to leave the relationship and work on yourself and hope that you'll do better next time.